Dying Laughing, which is a documentary about comedians. I mean, there have been a few documentaries about comedians focusing on, how hard it is to be a comedian. And if anyone's ever hung out with comedians, you know that, stand-up comedy is no laughing matter. This particularly focuses on what it's like to bomb on stage, what it's like to do a bad show, what it's like when it's not working. It has an incredibly impressive list of interviewees: Chris Rock, Eddie Izzard, Frankie Ball, Billy Connolly, Steve Coogan, Jamie Foxx, Jerry Lewis, Emo Phillips, Jerry Seinfeld, Sarah Silverman, and poignantly Gary Shandling and Victoria Williams, just everybody. Now, one of the functions of it having everybody in it is that everybody gets a fairly limited amount of screen time. The second thing is that whenever comedians talk about what they're doing, I mean, I have no doubt that standing up in front of an audience with no musical, a lot of them say this: if you're a musician, you've got an instrument, you've got a song, you've got a songbook. This is, if you're a comedian, you stand up and it's yourself. And there's a slightly awkward moment at the beginning when a few comedians say, "Look, nobody tells. Who else tells the truth but comedians? Who else puts themselves out there but comedians? You're going
journalists, maybe.
I know. Believe me, the list of
writers, lots of
alternative answers to this question. So there is, from the very beginning, that kind of sense of, just dial it down a little bit. And there is also an awful lot of, you cannot imagine the pain of, going out and doing really, really badly on stage. To which the answer is, well, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's horrible, But there are lots of jobs in which you do things. So once you get beyond that, what is interesting is that everyone who's interviewed is talking very honestly. There are tears. I mean, there's one recounting of a particularly bad gig in which the interview actually bursts into tears.
Someone famous?
There are lots. I don't want to spoil it, but there are lots of moments of people being sort of very self-deprecating, but also, doing that thing about teetering on the edge of recounting something which is actually giving them shivers to recount it. And if you're interested in the way that comedy works and what the actual life of a comedian, the craft of a comedian is like, I mean, there are some great things like talking about how do you do it? Well, you get up, you write 3 jokes a day, and then you commit to the fact that you have to say all 3 jokes on stage. And then when all 3 jokes are terrible, you realize that you have to write better jokes. And so there is a thing about, the craft and all that put in. So it's interesting. I don't think it's anything particularly original. And there is a little whiff of, okay, it's comedy. That's
self-obsession.
Really? But then again, that is part and parcel of the profession. And obviously, as somebody who speaks about things on the radio for a living, who am I to criticise?
So what's that called?
Dying Laughing.
And shall I wait until it comes out on a DVD? Is it worth it to go to the cinema to see it? Would you think?
I don't think so. I think it's a home viewing. Okay.